Yo, soul brothers and sisters. This is a really interesting question that I received from a young man about his relationship with his girlfriend, and that there is a disconnection because of his religion and that his family is not accepting her. So let me go into this. This is a really cool one. And there's a lot to be said for this, where we come from different cultural backgrounds and we come from different places, reconciling that as two individuals coming into a whole relationship, two whole individuals coming into and creating this third entity, the relationship. It can be massively challenging. So let me read this and let's go from there. Hey Stephanos, my girlfriend and I are massive fans and listen to your podcasts every chance we get, whether we are sitting at home having dinner and even when we are in the car together. He's sending me a lot of love. I'm really appreciative of that. We've been dating now for 2.5 years, though we have separated before and currently still separated, but working on our relationship and using you and other modalities and your podcasts as, you may say, therapy. We deeply love each other and refuse to move on as we don't want to be with anyone else, and you could pretty much label us as each other's soulmates. We have grown so much together and achieved a great deal together. What has separated us is different nationalities and religion. Though religion is not a big aspect for her, it's a big aspect for me and my family. Sadly, my parents are not accepting of her because she's different, though I'm willing to lose it all to keep her in my life. She has had a rough childhood, which has made her an independent woman and an incredibly strong one, which I absolutely love. Where I have been raised and programmed to always be an alpha male, and what I say goes. Both of us have been trying to adapt to each other and hear each other out to make this work. My question is, what can you suggest for us to work on, take into consideration of each other, or even guide us into the right path to make this work and be an everlasting, happy relationship? Though we are both certain it's going to be a struggle, we are willing to go through it all and make it work. Wow. So, amazing. A great deal of honesty, willingness, it appears on both sides. So let's go straight into this. There needs to be a level of respect. You have to be able to revere each other and hear each other and meet each other where you're at. Coming from different nationalities, different cultures, different social constructs, different social ideologies, belief systems, religions. Some religions are more dogmatic and rigid than others. Some spiritual practices are more liberal than others. And coming together really is a coming together of two very, very different people. So the first thing that you really need to do is get clear on exactly who you are as individuals. It seems that you've started that process and that you have that awareness, but go deeper into that go deeper into that. Really be honest with and face the issues that you're coming up against. And so whilst one of you is not tremendously religious, the other, or at least the other's family is. And so for you, my friend, who's written this to me, who's typed this to me, you've got to get really clear that there's a possibility that if you choose to be with this woman, you may have to adjust some of your ideologies, as so will she, I'm sure. But you will also maybe, I'd say more than maybe, experience a great deal of tension from your family. And so you need to weigh up how important your family is to you. How is it a non-negotiable that you have your immediate family or indirect family in your life? Because if that's a very important value for you, it's going to cause an issue if you make a choice being with this woman. So you have to face these issues head on, and the best time to talk about all of this is now. Don't avoid any of these big questions, and you're going to have to consider future thought around this. Another thing that you can do is really clarify your cultural code. So separate religion and culture. And what that means and what that looks like is get very clear on what's very important to you when it comes to how you want to live your life culturally, and do your religious practices, are they still very, very important for you? What does it mean for the perspective of having a family with this woman if you're thinking about having children? What does it mean potentially not having your extended family? or your immediate extended family not really involved in the relationship and in your family? How will that affect you, your beliefs, and how will that affect your partner? And so that's very important. Getting very clear on your identity and what you choose to identify with. Who do you want to identify with? Do you want to identify being a particular nationality or holding a particular religion? And the practices of those religions, or the cultural nuances and practices and common themes that come with that ethnicity. Are you willing to sacrifice that to, or at least part of that, are you willing to bend and be malleable to be with this woman? And of course, it's in reverse as well. It's not just for you. It's also for your partner. Is she willing to shift and change? She's experienced a difficult upbringing that's caused her, as a coping strategy, to be more independent, to look after herself. Maybe she's experienced aggressiveness, abuse, maybe hostility, maybe volatility in her environment. And now the more independent we can be as individuals, the more mastery and control we have over our environment, and it helps us feel safer. What can you do to help her feel safer as well? Who can you be to help her feel safer? And what does she need to do in order to shift out of that? Nothing wrong with being independent at all. That's in fact very healthy. It's what's the come from of that. So what's the intention behind that? Where does the needing to be independent come from? So clarifying your identity is really important as well. I got off topic about the identity there for a moment, but think about when you were 5 years old, when you were 12 years old, when you were 18 or 19 years old. What identity did you associate with? Journal these responses and then come to each other. Do this separately and then come to each other and talk about your identities. These are major areas and times in our lives where we have a very strong identity to ourselves and to the world. We're starting to think about life very differently. We're starting to see more of the world. And so before you get super clear on this is my identity, this religious belief is what I need to practice, how do I practice that, still satisfy my family and be with this woman, maybe you as an individual, you authentically don't want to practice this religion anymore, but maybe you do. And that's a very honest conversation you need to have. I will also be practicing what's called unconditional experimentation. In other words, go deep into understanding your partner and her needs, and she must do the same for you as well. Just really go into radical, call it radical experimentation. What would it look like if she converted religions? What would it look like if you completely denounced your religion? Go to the extremes and then go to all the places in between. That's going to be really important as well. If you haven't done this, start doing this. The next thing is really start to share your insights and your history with each other. Start to understand who you are and who you've been, what major decisions you've made, why you've made them. Really go deeper into that. Share your history with each other. Share who you've been and who you want to be as well. Share your future with each other. That's a very important thing when we're getting into a relationship, is learning to value ourselves and value our histories and the richness of that. And that helps us also understand what we truly want in relationship. And so getting clear on those values is going to help you both grow as well. I'd also consider actually having an intermediary. Having someone that can listen and hear your stories separately and together is very important, such as a therapist or a spiritual guide, a shaman, a healer, whatever it may be. But having that professional structured help is going to help you both get clearer on how to manage this difficulty. You said you've been broken up before, you've been together 2.5 years, and you're in a separation at the moment. I think that's also important to maybe take into consideration and ask yourself, okay, why has that happened? Why are you splitting up? Is it the discrepancy in religions or the pressure that the relationship may be receiving from your family, or is it something else? Get clear on why you're splitting up. And I love that you're willing to do the work and willing to traverse the depths of difficulty and pain. Often people in relationships aren't willing to do that when they know there's great value in relationships. Also understand that you're together for a reason. Could be a reason, could be a season, could be a lifetime. That's for you both to decide. But what is important is that you get clear on why you're together and why you want to work through the challenges that you want to work through. That's going to be very important, very important for both of you. And so really honoring those beliefs is going to, and respecting each other's beliefs is going to be crucial to your own growth. I would also say, if you haven't done this already, is can you participate in each other's, or in this case, can the woman that you're with participate in your religion? And maybe she may like that. Maybe she may be attracted to that. Maybe it may resonate with her. You also mentioned something about being the alpha male, that you've been taught in your world that your way is the highway, that your way is right and it should not be questioned. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, so if I'm completely wrong about that, you can correct me in any capacity. And actually, in fact, I'll read exactly what you wrote. Okay, what I say goes, basically. So that's what you said. Okay, so maybe are you willing to shift some of that and be open to hearing other people, hearing what the woman in your life has to say, really honoring her and respecting each other, respecting each other's wisdom and respecting each other's identity and respecting each other's, revering each other's point of view, and coming to that from that place as well. You can still be an alpha male and lead healthily without coming from a position of what I say goes. What I say goes is arrogant. It can be arrogant. It can be egotistical. It can be stubborn and rigid. You will only limit yourself and your experiences when you do that. However, you can still lead with authority, with genuine, authentic authority. You can still lead from a place of compassion and power and empowerment and strength and resilience and stability and what I call verticality and confidence, and yet still be open to hearing what other people have to say. And can you prioritize the things that are important to her? That's very important too. And can she do the same for you? So you've got to get clear on what's important to you so she knows that, and you've got to then express that to her. And being a consistent discussion around this, like really being a consistent discussion around this. There was a question here and I just want to answer it. I wonder the religious aspects of who they are a part of why they love one another. I would say yes, that is part of why they would love one another. It's part of what the attraction is, right? I'm curious if these parts of each other would attract one another, opposites attract, or the push-pull, both. So yes, opposites attract and similarities attract as well. And so similarities, the opposites attract and similarities can sometimes keep us together too. And so it's important to understand that as well. And so I think there's a lot for you to digest and listen to here. Ultimately, it has to be a continual discussion about what's really, really important to you. Okay, power and blessings to you, beautiful people. I'll see you again soon.